The Really Good Walks of New Zealand is brought to you by Ian. Yep, that's me. I'm hiking this track with my good buddy Tom. Today we're checking out the Queen Charlotte Sound hike. The Queen Charlotte track is an absolute beauty located in the Marlborough Sounds of the South Island of New Zealand. This area is the summer playground of the South Island, much like Queenstown is the winter playground of the South Island. The Marlborough Sounds is the collective name given to a few different sounds located at the top of the South Island: Pelorus Sound, Kenepuru Sound, Queen Charlotte Sound and the Outer Sounds. If you've ever caught the inter-island ferry between Wellington and Picton, you have travelled through the Queen Charlotte Sound. It is a stunning and rugged terrain, largely only accessible by boat and steeped in history. In summertime, the boats are out, usually darting in and out of stunning bays, swathed in beautiful blue skies and deep blue waters. However, the seas can be rough in these parts, with a Russian cruise liner, the Mikhail Lermontov, once sinking here 36 years ago, so watch the weather forecast. This track is 71 kilometres long, stretching between Ship Cove in the north, which is the site of a significant memorial to Captain Cook, who visited the area many times in the 1700s, and Anakiwa in the south, which is the well-known home base of the Outward Bound Adventure Stall. The track is a Department of Conservation maintained track that largely takes you past stunning bays and beaches, through beautiful native bush, and across ridge lines that provide great views from the top. This track is unique in New Zealand as far as I've ever experienced, because you can cross over both public and private land, and there are multiple private accommodation providers and eating establishments that you can find along the way. It is the only multi-hike I have done in New Zealand where you can buy refreshments at shops and order pizza and a drink along the way. Because you are hiking across private land, you do need to pre-purchase a QCTLC pass for $25. This goes towards the maintenance of the track, and if you're curious what QCTLC stands for, it's the Queen Charlotte Track Land Cooperative. This is also a track that can be done by bikers at certain times of the year, although they must give way to walkers. It is also part of the Te Araroa Trail, which is a trail that extends the entire length of New Zealand. And Tom and I meet a few intrepid Te Araroa hikers on this trail. As for us, we are doing it across 3 nights and we're camping, so carrying our own tents and cooking gear. For us, it's a 3-hour ferry ride across the Cook Strait to the beautiful town of Picton, then catch a water taxi to Ship Cove, all very easy to arrange well in advance on the internet.
There's a couple of safety things I've got to go through with you.
The water taxi is a great way to start the adventure. We also saw dolphins. Ship Cove is a fascinating place. Action shot! The ferry captain and the well-designed signage in the monuments at Ship Cove tell the story of Captain Cook landing here 5 times over his many visits to Aotearoa. It is also a place where contact was made with Maori and trade occurred. For us, it marks the start of our 71 kilometre hike and we head off around 4 PM. For us, it has been a long day just to get to the start of the track. We head over the hill to Schoolhouse Bay campsite, a total distance of 4.5 kilometres, taking 1.5 hours. It's a decent climb, and as we ascend, the views become increasingly spectacular. Beautiful blue sky, blue water, green native bush. You just can't beat it, it's fantastic. We choose to camp at the bay, which costs $6 per person per night, something we'd prepaid before leaving Picton. But you can pay the fees in a self-registration box at each site. In a neighbouring bay, Resolution Bay, which is just a short walk away from the Schoolhouse Bay campsite, is an accommodation alternative and a shop if camping isn't your thing. The next day for us is a 22 kilometre 7-hour hike to Camp Bay campsite. It starts with a bit of a climb out of the bay, but you soon drop down to sea level again, which is where you remain for a lot of the day. There are a large number of private beaches and homes accessible only by boat, and there is a fair few of them in various bays that we walk past. For some reason, the Camp Bay campsite is $2 per person more expensive than the Schoolhouse Bay campsite, costing a magnificent $8 per person per night. However, there are a whole lot more people at this campsite, which is just a stone's throw away from Punga Cove Resort, which has a pizzeria and a place to buy a few beverages. Again, I could not resist the allure of commercialism, and I bought a pizza after what had been a very long, hot day. This was to be the biggest day, both in distance and effort. We're off to Cowshed Bay campsite, a total of 23 kilometres. It's supposed to take 8 hours, and there's a whole lot of up and downs on this part of the hike. We also do the Eatwells Lookout side trip, and if you're in the neighbourhood, it would be rude not to. For a large part of this leg, you are walking along a ridgeline with great views down both sides, both out across Queen Charlotte Sound, as well as the tip of the Kenepuru Sound. The Cowshed Bay campsite is also very close to another resort and restaurant. We could not resist the pull of a dinner on a deck and the odd drink or two. The campsite itself is the most expensive of the lot, a whopping $13 per person per night, more than double the Schoolhouse Bay campsite. But this one did have flushing toilets, so yeah, happy with that. I will be honest, the climb out of Cowshed Bay was the toughest climb of the lot. It was hot, and perhaps my legs were starting to feel the effects of the last couple of days. We left early to make sure we got to Anakiwa with plenty of time to spare for our 3:30 water taxi. The hike to Anakiwa is 20.5 kilometres and supposed to take 8 hours. But after getting the big climb out of the way, we needn't have worried. We made good time to Anakiwa, plenty of time for another nod to commercialism with a few more ice blocks and cokes. The trip back to Picton from Anakiwa only takes 30 minutes. No dolphins this time.
We're all giving it a solid 8.5 out of 10.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
And great company.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, 10 out of 10.
Ian Dennis Hiking Adventure Guiding Company.
Oh, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
Good on you, bro.
Yeah.
On a few occasions, we ran into some wekas. Now, I love these little fellas. They aren't considered as highly as Kiwis. Kiwis are more shy and usually come out at night. But wekas, on the other hand, they just can't resist not coming out and saying hello. Just make sure they don't grab your stuff. They are well known to grab your car keys and sprint into the bush, never to be seen again. Hey, final thoughts. This track is well maintained and well signposted with good infrastructure along the way. It never gets too steep, although I can imagine cyclists having to get off their bikes in certain places to push them uphill, but that would be a rarity, I think. This track is very accessible to those with boats, lots of holiday homes in the area, and I certainly didn't expect the restaurants and shops along the track. Perhaps I hadn't done my research well enough. Thanks, Queen Charlotte Sound. Stunning scenery. Perhaps I should come back when there are less people around.